Hey, this is Wolf from Armoury-Terrain, and here at Armoury-Terrain we believe that if you're going to craft something, you may as well have fun doing it, hence the horns and the dwarven apron. So anyway, today we are going to make some convention safe knives. Now don't get me wrong, these are not Larp safe, even though they won't cut somebody. If you stab somebody hard enough, these will go into somebody. So convention safe, yes. Larp safe, no. Okay, so to make these knives, all you're going to need is some polypipe, a heat gun, and a couple of other secret ingredients that I'm about to reveal. So firstly, work out how long your pipe needs to be. So you need a decent handle amount, and then a blade. So I'm going to make another short knife here. So I'm going to cut it about there for the blade, and then I'm going to add a little bit more to put a quillion or cross guard onto it. So to cut the polypipe you can use a hacksaw or a saw, but that makes a whole lot of mess. I know Bill Duran and Evil Ted Smith have some very cool polypipe cutters that I can't see here in Australia. What we use are these wrenches with a cutter on it. So these slide onto the pipe. You tighten it up a bit, give it a twist round, tighten it up a little bit more, twist backwards and forwards in both directions, and very, very soon this will pop apart, like so. And this is a piece that I'm keeping, yes. Right, next step is move everything that can melt off your workbench and find something that once we heat this up to squeeze it flat between. I'm going to use 2 pieces of compressed bamboo that I just happen to have lying around. So starting on the polypipe and using my meltable pen and being careful to soften it, because if you don't hold it down it tends to run away. Like so. Okay guys, safety tip here. If you're heating your polypipe and it starts turning brown, you are creating chlorine gas. Vacate the area immediately and ventilate well. Otherwise you will pass out, and when you come to, well, if you come to and haven't died, you're going to be very, very ill. So I'm giving this a preliminary squeeze, just to flatten it down a little bit so I can heat it better without it running away. So, now that it's a little flat, I'll heat it up a little bit more. Now, at this point, some people will clamp it or put a big weight on it, but with the size that I am, I can exert enough pressure down to hold it flat. The thing to do now, though, is to wait for it to cool enough to remain in shape. Okay, now that this is flat and cool, you can see I've flattened it all the way out. I've worked out the shape of my blade and drawn it on here. Now I've got to cut it out. You could use a coping saw or a electric jigsaw or a fret saw, but I happen to have a really cool scroll saw just behind me here, so that's what I'll use. So I'll cut this out and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've jumped ahead a couple of steps. I've cut the shape of my knife out, and the piece that I cut off the end, I used my cordless drill and drilled lots of holes along it, and then used a knife to cut them out to give me the piece that goes onto here. And if you can see that, you can see that I didn't make it level, which kind of really sucks. So what I'll do is with my Dremel, I'll just thin this side out a little bit. Only problem with that is that if you cut too much away from the edges, these pipe will separate into two pieces. So when that happens, all you can do is hit it with the heat gun again and get a pair of pliers and just clamp it flat, and it should pretty much meld into one piece. Now on the edge of your blade, you're going to look at a bit of a bevel using the sanding disc on the Dremel. And as you can see, this makes a whole lot of plastic dust. So please wear breathing protection. You don't want this crap in your lungs. I've also used the sanding disc to put a fuller into the blade just to help sell it on the concept that it is a blade. I think this one's still a little sharp on the tip, so I'm going to take a little bit more off it. Sanding, sanding, sanding. It sometimes seems that the biggest part of my life as a prop maker is sanding stuff down or using the hot glue gun to glue it back together. So anyway, once you have your blade and you're happy enough with the shape, for this one I'm going for an old fishing knife, which explains the size of it, and for a normal sized hand, not my giant mitt. Okay, so the ring, the crossguard, the quillion, whatever you want to call it, slide it on and wedge it in place. This one I've managed to wedge in tight so it won't go anywhere. You'll probably need to glue it on with either a bit of contact adhesive or some hot glue. Now build up the handle. For my one, I've got lots of little bits of thin balsa wood floating. Welcome back to making this cosplay knife. Sorry about the break, the camera card died. So anyway, talking about making handles once you get it to this stage. For this knife, because I want it to look like an old fisherman knife, I've cut a number of strips of thin balsa wood, which I will use hot glue to stick to this, for the first one, or maybe contact adhesive, and then PVA glue, woodworking glue, to stick the rest of them together and then clamp them overnight. And then tomorrow, when I come out here, I'll use my Dremel and I'll soften off all the edges until it looks like a proper wooden handle. Then to help sell the idea some more, I will use a rivet such as this one here, and either the male rivet or the female cap, and drill a hole and glue two of these in place, which is what I've done on this one. Now if you're anything like me and do any leather work at all, you'll have a box of broken rivets that you had to take out of projects. They're ones to use for this, not the brand new ones. So for the handle, I'm using balsa wood on this one. On this one here, I just used some floor tile EVA mat, which works really well. And on this one here that I wrapped with leather, I used some core flute, the stuff that you normally see on real estate signs. So handle thickness, anything you really want it to be. Now I'm going to end this video here because it's quite late on a wet Wednesday night, so you won't see this one painted, but it will be painted up similar to this knife, but with a stained handle and a very similar blade. So I hope you've enjoyed this somewhat jerky video on how to make a cosplay knife, and this is Wolf from Armoury-Terrain, as always, saying go out and make something.